Hello, good morning. I remember to actually turn on the microphone today. And happy Friday. We made it. We survived the week to Friday, and I think we're on. Well, I think I've been pretty happy with our progress. I've decided to move the validate incoming data up into the routing section, at least in order for the videos. The lessons, I think I still put those in the data sort of like section, which does make me sort of wonder whether or not I do need to sort of separate those out for next time. Probably should just keep them all together. I don't think there's a really good reason to separate them, but that's neither here nor there. Um, but we're on to CRUD now. So create a road in a database. Now I started our database ahead of time, but I need to remember what exactly are we looking at here. So in our init, we have users, we have tasks, we have a single deleted user. We have a single deleted task. Then we have these default tasks. So, oh, because okay, so well, a user ID is null in here, so it's not required to have that. It might be good for us to create users first. Now, coming back to this, right? So in security, we have loading sequences of environment variables. We're already using .envy to load a new environment variable, aren't we? In order to deal with this thing. Let me double check here. So yeah, we're using .envy. So I don't think we need this at all. Loading environment variables, we're doing that. So I don't need you. Creating a jot. Okay. Handling errors without crashing. That would be good. So we almost have that, but not quite. Okay, hashing passwords. So I could see that this could go separately as well, but at the same time, if we're gonna create, well, we can create tasks then. Let's just create tasks. Because creating a user right now, I don't want to do something where like here's a password and then I'm not hashing it. I don't ever want to do that unless it's absolutely necessary. So tasks it is. So that being said, with our init, we can look at the tasks. We already have everything sort of set up here for a database. So I want to do a practice run first, just sort of get myself in the mindset for like, hey, how is this going to work? Because it's been a while. So this is going to be maybe like create task. Oh, I want to actually probably do this with rest. So we'll do tasks. It'll be a post. We're gonna want to have a a task coming in. So this is a request task. And so looking at this, we have we won't be creating it with an ID. The priority is a default null, but we can set that to whatever we want, like A, B, or C, I think. The title is not null. Actually, the only thing that's not null in here is title. So maybe we'll do that. We'll do title. Okay, so title is a string. Okay, you become deserialized. Have JSON task. Okay, we have to use something as, oh, it was like use model. I vaguely remember how we're doing this with B41. Hello, good morning. It's going well. How are you doing today? Okay, so to use the model, because I could have something like model. So I have like, oh, it would be like task. Okay, so I have CRM, query, test, config, task. I have that task. That's under test config. Let's see, where is it? So under database, we have mod. Okay, so we have tasks. Now I am modding this, right? Let's see, from library. Oh, so like UCRM database in order to do this, but I'm not modding database at all, which I think I need to. So we need to do mod database. And then in here, we should have access to like task. Ooh, but it's like model, isn't it? Right. Okay. So model. So use create database task model. And so if I remember correctly, we want to rename that to just like task. So use create database task model as task. Okay, so if I'm gonna create a new one, I want what is it? That's like task. I'm trying to do this from memory to see how much I remember. Task. Do I want like a new? Or was that actually just task? Tasks. Oh, like I want to active model new. Oh, there is no new. Okay. Oh, but I could do this. Okay. So this is really wide. I'm kind of surprised that I'm not getting Rust Analyzer helping me organize this a little bit. Is it because there's an error? That's because there's an error. Okay. All right, so I have my new task here. So I'm not gonna have an ID. Is that okay? Oh no, missing structure fields. So I need to have so ID. You need to be ooh, I need to make it the default. So there's this like set. Oh, I remember now. I could do the default trick, I think. Yeah, like that. Okay, so if we're not setting priority, we're setting the title. So this will be a set to then a string, which would be task dot title, and then we're not doing the rest of you. I use variable. Yeah, okay. So we're not using the new task yet. Task dot. Can I save? Or what do we need to do to it? There's something that I can do to tell it to like commit, do the thing at, because it is an active model. I thought it was save. Oh, it is save. Okay, save. Oh, right. We need the database. Oh, okay. So if we have the database, okay. So we have this database connection. We need to pass you into um, create routes. Oh, so this is probably a different lesson right now. Is I need to create an extension with the database. So this is possibly like part of creating a database. This is going to be pass so like passing database connection to handlers. And then we'll use an extension for that. And then that will allow us to get that out. And then we can just go with create task immediately afterwards. Okay, I like that. That's what we're gonna go with. So let me save and reset all of these. I need to remember that I can. Oh, interesting. That just stopped Rust Analyzer. Oh, that allows me to, okay, stop. That's not pausing Rest Analyzer. That's actually fully stopping and restarting the server from there. I remember reading that that was a an option now. I didn't realize that that's exactly how it worked. Nice. Okay. So no more errors. I think what we can do is validate incoming data. So you're done. I want to, oh, and you move back here. Well, that's fine for right now. I want in this thing, oh, I guess I accidentally, this is going to be passing database to handlers. And I guess that's what we're going to do next is passing this database that we just created into the route handlers using an extension and then grabbing that extension out. Okay. So let's I guess this is gonna be part. I'm gonna make this also like part of creating a row in a database too. So, oh, you know what I could do is I could also make the SQL build just something completely irrelevant in here, which might be helpful. It's like create table if not exists. Um, I mean, yes, no, I don't know. I'm going back and forth on this one. Let me not think about that until we do this one. Okay, here we go. Back up to here and everything's set up. All right, let's do this. Now that we have a connection to our database using CORM set up, we need to pass that database connection into our route handlers. And that's because if we're going to actually, do things to our route handlers, like for example, we can see coming up, we're going to be crudding a lot of data. Uh, then we kind of need that database connection in order for anything to happen. So how do we do that? Well, let's come into let's see, where is it? Down here, our mod in routes, and we can actually do a layer similar to our middleware where we put the database inside of it. We're going to be using something called an extension. Unfortunately, our database was created here in library. That being said, our create routes is just a function. So we can just pass that in here. Let's let's do that right now. So here's our database. I'm going to remove the underscore because we're going to start using it. I'm going to pass it in and give ownership to create routes. Okay, well, you're upset because I'm not doing anything with this. So you're going to take a database, which is a database. Let's see. You are a result. Oh, that's a good point. So you're a result. For right now, let's just go ahead and unwrap this. So that way we have the actual thing. Oh, you're a database connection. Sorry, database connection. There we go. So once we have this, now we need to create an extension that will make it available for everything else. So we're going to do this as a dot layer, and then we have an extension using Axum extension, and we're going to pass into it this database. Okay, now if I want to get access to this, let's go ahead and look forward a little bit. Our first thing is going to be creating a row in the database. We'll sort of begin by creating that up. So I'm going to create in routes a new file called let's do this as like create task, letter S, and in mod create task, pub async function create task. Now, let's go ahead and use that in here really quickly. Now, remember from our middleware, we can't add this route below the layer, otherwise it won't have access to the database here. So it needs to be above it, but anything above it, no matter how far, will have access to this database if we need it. Okay, so this is going to be a route. We're going to make this route slash tasks. We'll do a post, and this will be create task. Okay, now if we want to get access to this extension, it's very similar to JSON. So we just have extension. It's a tuple type, so we'll have our database connection and URL type extension database connection. And now it's just being unused, but I can at this time, well, just start using it with a with CORM if I want to do that database connection, which we will be doing in the create row in a database lesson. So I will see you over there. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this was helpful, and bye. Dota, hello. How are you doing today? Okay, so this was passing database to handlers. I can pretty much keep this one open, or I guess not, because people watch this in order. Yeah, I think I'm definitely gonna want to take these and move them up somewhere. Maybe like even if I just put it at the top of data, that would be fine. So maybe I'll do that. Although I really do think that it probably truly belongs up there. Okay, so you're good. Let's commit you. We are passing database connection using extensions, using an extension. Okay, now that we have that, next up, creating a row in the database. So I'm thinking of creating just a title or like creating a task. We don't have a user yet. And I'm a little bit hesitant to create a user. I mean, so I could create a user, but we don't have password hashing in that yet. Is our plan items from the database using filters, autonomic patch updates, deleting data? Yeah, I can do all of this with tasks. Every single one of these, including time, with tasks, and then we can talk about security and stuff. Okay. So we're going to be creating a task. We'll see the ID becomes default. The priority is nullable, but we can set that as, I think, an ABC. Yeah, like this. title. Oh, and I think we can actually see those types in the database, can't we? So database, tasks. Yeah, look at this. Okay, so we have priority is an option string, title is required, ID is required. Interesting. I guess yeah, in the database it's required, but it's also going to be auto created for us. Completed at. That's an option with a date, time with time zone. So I'll probably skip the time ones, but we can go with priority, which is an option, and a string. Description, skip the user ID, and is default, leave that as a none to show. Okay. So we'll have to show off both of these. All right, we're gonna move on to that next. And here we go with that. It's finally time for us to save something to the database. We have our database connection. We're passing that connection into our route handlers. And so now we want to, well, let's create something in our database. Now, if you've started the Docker server, we have a database already set up for us, and we've actually connected to it with CRM. So I'm going to be using that connection here, and I can actually see if I just look up in the full stack root level of the full stack to do REST course under database, there is an init.sql, and this shows us what exactly we're seeding our database with. What's the shape of the database that we at build time initially created? So in this case, I'm going to be creating a task because I don't want to stick with users right now. We'll get to that later. So with a task, we have an ID that is serial, so the ID will auto increment for us. We have a priority. This is nullable, but we can set it still. A title is not nullable, so we have to set it. Completed at is a timestamps. Now the Z, if you're not familiar with Postgres, this is timestamp with date time zone. Description here is also nullable, but it's long form text. Looks like deleted at is going to default to null, so we can go ahead and set that. We can just not set that. So several of these we're not going to set. Now user ID is also nullable, so I'm just not going to set that right now. It's going to be a task that doesn't exist for anyone. And is default is also has default to false. We're just gonna worry about some of these and leave the rest as default. I'm gonna show how that works. Now, since we've already generated the models, we can actually go and compare how this looks with how the models look. So back down in the data folder, which this is inside of the root level backend, Rust, Axum, lessons, data. We can see under database tasks, this is generated by CRM. This is the struct that was created that represents that entire table. So we have this ID. It's an I32, which is good to know. All the nullable ones are actually options here, which is also good to know. Now, also this priority was a varchar with a size of 4. Here it's just a string, and we don't really worry about that too much. The database will yell at us, though, if we try to put something greater than 4 characters inside of it. Title is required, so it's just a string. Completed at, well, it was the date time Z. This is date time with time zone type here. This is all coming from the prelude here. So this is an actual CRM type. Now, what's interesting is that for the description, CRM brings in this column type text here, and then sets it to be nullable. But we also know that from the option. And the rest of them are pretty much what we'd expect here. So let's go back to our create task route that we created when we were building the extension out. We now have access to this database. We need to get access to this model here so we can then create we can actually create a task. It's going to be a little bit strange. Each of these tables have a model struct inside of them that is the model for that table. That I guess that shouldn't be too confusing, except that they're called model, which means that the model for tasks is model. The model for users is model, and that's going to be a little bit hard to work with if we need to have both in the same file here. So we're going to use a little bit of trickery. So we're going to use a use. Let's go back to the root level of the crate here. And then we'll go into database. Let's see, crate, database. Where are you upset? Why are you database uppercase? What? Database. Let's see, create task is seen here like that. The root level. Oh, UCRM, this database. Oh, I need to grab this in. This isn't being modded. Well, that's a problem. Let's mod database like that. And now we should be able to get, okay, use create database. There we go. We want a task and we want this model. But I don't just want the model. I want to rename this model to be something, well, a little bit better. So we're going to do as, let's do this as like a task model. Okay, great. So now we've imported this this task model, and this is the database task. I can use this to create the initial, like an initial new task that's going to come in. So we're going to do this with a this is going to be a new task equals. Okay, we're going to use the task model. New. Oh, sorry. This one isn't a new. We want a. Where are you? Why can't I get access to you? All right. I just did this not long ago. Why am I failing now? What am I doing wrong with this? Because I can't. Oh, is it just that task model like that? Oh. Okay. So hold on. We'll just restart and do this again. For some reason, I thought, oh, right, because this makes it an active model. This is just making it a model. How do I get active model before? So I do new task dot save. Yeah, this is not going to work because no method name save because it's not an active model. What did I do differently? So let new task equals, we have task model. Is it because I'm not doing set on any of these? So if I do get rid of you, for example. Yeah, okay. So I'm doing something very wrong here. Okay, so it's not that was task model. Oh, is it this task? Okay, so it might be task dot. Oh, that's what it is. Active model. So I have to do this thing with the lowercase tasks. Right. Then I can do this where I then say, okay, we have default, and then whatever we want to store in here. So if we want the title, then that becomes okay. Got it. All right. Well, let's try this again. Save. I forgot the lowercase task too. Okay. Let's also delete that. Second time's a charm, right? Now that we have a database connection that we can pass through to our route handlers, it's time for us to actually save something to the database. So let's first start by investigating what our database sort of looks like here. So we have a database folder, and this, if we look at it for tasks, let's say, this was all auto-generated by CRM when we pointed it at our database and had it sort of figure things out. We it shows us the types, it shows everything that we need, uh, but we kind of need access to this in order to create things in the database, and we're going to do this with this create task here. But we're going to run into a slight problem. This database, we first need to mod it because our program isn't, Rust Analyzer, Rust, it isn't aware of database at all in any way. So we're going to mod database to begin with. That's going to load up this file, which then is going to bring in everything that we need. Okay, back to create tasks. We need to bring in we need to create an active model, which is going to allow us to start creating a new item in the database. Okay, so let's going to call this new task equals, well, the active model, we can't directly get it, nor do I really want to. I want to go through tasks, but it's going to be a little bit interesting. We're going to use tasks, which is, directly from this file here. So task, pull that in, and active model. Now this doesn't have a constructor or builder or anything else like that associated with it. We're going to directly create it. And if I do a fill structs field, put a semicolon on that so Rust Analyzer is happy. This is what it looks like. We're trying to create a new task with everything on here, but we don't want everything on here. For example, we don't know what the ID is going to be. That's going to be created for us by the database. But what we can do, we can get rid of this ID and start with, I'm just putting in 2 dots. Rust Analyzer takes over and suggests, hey, what if we just do this default? So what this means is everything that I don't directly put in is going to replace with whatever the default value is going to be inside the database. So priority, sure, we want to set this. We can actually take a look and see in tasks here. The priority is an option and a string. If we also want to take a look at what we set this up as in the database initialization, we can look at init.sql and see, okay, tasks priority is a varchar 4, the default is null, and if we look at some other tasks that we entered in, the priority is going to be something like A, B, or C. So let's we want to set this to be an A, well, B or C. Let's just sort of manually set this to be whatever we feel like to begin with. So this is going to be a set we have to use this special set thing from CORM, and it's looking for an option. So some, and then some character. So for example, we might do like A. I'll do a toOwned on this. It is a string that it's looking into, so I can't actually pass it a character. Okay, a title is another thing. So let's just do another set. This doesn't need a sum because it's required. It's just a string. This is going to be my new title. And we will toOwned this. Completed at, well, our new tasks aren't completed at, and it's not required. So I'm going to go ahead and leave that off. Sure, we can put a new description. This is another set. So this is my new task description. And we'll toOwned that. Oh, and this is an option also as well because the description is not required. So it's going to be a sum like that. Okay, deleted that. This is not going to be deleted. I'm going to leave that as default as null. We don't have a user ID right now, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that as blank. That's okay. We have the tasks set up that they don't have to take a user ID. And is default, again, that's going to default to null, which means it's not default. That's fine. Okay, so this is creating a new task, and then I can hit new task.save. We need to pass it in a reference to our database. Now this returns a, let's see, turns a core pin. So when we start seeing like pin, future, okay, so we need to await this. And then it's going to be a result. Let's go ahead and save this to something. So we'll call this result equals. Now we can see what this is. So it's going to be a result with the active model. So we haven't done any advanced error handling yet. So let's just go and unwrap it. Oh, and that's an active model. So basically we save it to the database and it gives us back an active model, which we should be able to debug or at least print out some things of what's going on. So let's run a debug on result. Now, hitting this route, if I just hit this directly, we will, we'll save some things. Let's go ahead. This is going to be a post to create a post to /tasks. Let's go ahead and set up Thunder Client here. I've already previously started the server, so we're going to do a post to / localhost port 3000 tasks. In our body, we're going to use JSON. Well, actually, it doesn't matter what we send right now, so I'm just going to hit status OK, and I want to see in our cargo watch. Here's that active model that was set. So, our ID is 4 now. Okay, so we got an ID back. Here's our priority is A. Our title is my new title. Completed at is this none. Description is this sum. Deleted at is none. Now notice that there's this unchanged here. What this means is, yes, it's been put into the database, but I got an active model back that we could set things on and then make more changes to it, potentially do another save or an update or something with that. And the unchanged here is noting whether or not it needs to, update that if I run the save method again. Now, just doing the same task over and over again isn't really all that helpful. Let's go ahead and pass in, what are we doing? We're doing the title. So our title is going to be a do something cool. We have a description. So a description is going to be, that was a do something. There we go. This task created by Thunder Client. And then we have a priority. Priority is obviously A. Okay, so if we just do this, now if I hit send again, nothing really changes. It's still, well, the A, but it's still my new title. We do have a new ID here. We need to remember to come into create task and grab that information from the data coming in. So let's do that next. So we're gonna have a pub struct request task. We are going to derive the serialize for this. We're gonna have a in this case, I don't think I need pub because we're in the same file and we're actually going to be reading these out. So it won't yell at me about unread items in the struct. So we need a title. You're a string. We need a priority. Now you're an option because we don't really need the priority, but you're also a string inside there. And we need a description, which is also an option string. We have our extension coming in. I just want something else. The order doesn't actually matter. I can put this before or after. So let's do this here. We have JSON. This is going to be, now we have this as new tasks. This is request task essentially. And your type is JSON request task. Now I want to set the priority to be, well, this is sum A to owned. I already have it as an option, so I can do request task dot priority, which is already an option string. Title. I have that as a string inside of request task, so dot title. And description, same exact thing here. So you're going to be a request task dot description. Okay. So if we come back to our new request and I hit send, we're going to come open up our terminal again. And now we see, hey, okay, so ID 6, titles do something cool, and our description is this task created by Thunder Client. Okay, so excellent. So we have now created a task. We've defined what that task is going to be from Thunder Client. We send that in a post request to our route handler. Our route handler takes in the database, connects to the model, and then sets fields on that new model, saves it, and then just prints out the result. We could send that result back in a JSON document or anything else that we want. But that's the basics. We have now successfully created an item in the database. So mark that as completed. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Dota, you oh yeah, so you asked if I was still recording. I started recording and then I failed, so I started again, and then you asked, okay, yeah, then you came back and then went off again. So sorry about that. Let's clean up. We have a warning in here. Right, unused. We don't need the database. Okay, so you're all good here. I do remember that we got like number 6, so we can just do a get on a specific item in the database. But let's go ahead and commit these. So this is create row in database. I also want to create row in database. Okay, next up. get one item from the database. Okay, so get one and probably return that. Okay, so I don't. I'm trying to think like if I want to practice this beforehand. I think it's fairly simple, but I'm also trying to remember like if I'm let's see, if I do let me do this inside of like create task. So if I do so I think it's going to be this tasks. Oh, I think okay, so I need like the model. So I need like the task model. Where? Query? I know I need that from something. Do I not need that here? It's like query from query result, get no. Maybe this is still just tasks. Task dot okay, so yeah, I've forgotten how to do a query. Okay, let's go research this really fast. C or M Rust. So there's using CRM. Sure. Okay, basic CRUD select. So there's our entity as that thing. Okay, find. So it's cake. Find. Oh right, it was find by. So that's what it was. So it'd be this model um find by. We can do find by ID. Or just find. Okay, so we just do find. Yeah, so you're happy with that. Find. Then we do a filter. And then that's gonna be okay. So like then we have to do tasks, column, like ID equal. Oh, column ID, user ID. Where can I find that? Filter column. Okay, so that's like contains. Oh yes, it's at a dot after this. So like a dot. Then there's stuff that I can do. So I think. Oh yeah, and there's like equal to then like I don't know, 14, something like that. And then order by ascending, we want to get all, or we want to get one. And I think if we do like find by ID, that lets us do a single one. Okay. Yeah. We're gonna do find by ID, the one that comes in, one. Oh wait, okay. So that's what we want to do here. Also, this is a path parameter. I need to remember exactly how that works. So we have lessons, routing, source, routes. So we have like hard coded. Oh, this one, path variables. You won't let me go in there? Fine. Path variables. Oh, right. Just path with ID path. Okay, I32. Got it. All right. What's the chance that I remembered all that and can do this before the end of the stream? I don't know. We'll find out. We'll go back to starting with Thunder Client again to get the single one. So here we go. Recording the next lesson. Now that we've created a row in the database, let's see if we can get that task back out again. We're going to want to get a single item from the database. Now, I remember that was like an ID. I think we put in 4, 5, and 6. In traditional sort of RESTful APIs, we can use that ID to grab a single one in the path parameter for our server. Let's go ahead and set Thunder Client first for doing that. So we're going to do a GET request to localhost port 3000 /tasks, and then we want the specific ID. So let's get that last one out, 6. Now, of course, if I run this, we get a 404 not found. So we need to fix that really quickly too. So down in data, let's create a brand new route. This will be maybe get one task, s, and we'll add that in here. So mod get one task. We'll do a pub async function get one task. We'll use that here. Use get one task, and add in a route for this. This does need to go above the layer. So route, I want this to be task /, and if we remember from how to use path parameters, it's just going to be a colon, and we can just do like maybe something like task ID. And our service is going to be a get one task. Okay, so we can get the path parameter here. So we have path. This is going to be the task ID. URI path. And that's an I32 because we remember that the IDs are stored as I32s in the database. We also need the database connection itself. So we need the extension, database, your type is extension, database connection. Okay. Finally, we're going to have the incoming data to, well, I mean, that's just going to be the ID. Oh, we need to send something back. Now, I don't necessarily like sending the exact, like the full database model back. I like just sending only what I really want to. So I'm going to create a new JSON object that can be serialized that we're going to turn into the resulting task. So this can be a pub struct response task. Let's derive serialize. Okay, so for you, we're going to have an ID in this. An ID is going to be an I32. That is absolutely required. We're going to have a title. That is absolutely required too. So string. We're going to have a priority. That is an option string. We're going to have a description. That is an option string. We can send the other things, but we know we don't really have them in here. So we don't really need. This is all I really care about right now. Okay, so saving you. Let's now use this information to request our task. Okay, so let the task equals. Well, we need to grab access to the model for that's under here in tasks. And looking at what we have in here, it's actually under mod. So we have pubmod tasks. In tasks, we have this pubstruct model. So we need this thing here. The problem is twofold. Well, I mean, I guess we have just one real problem here, which is it's named model. This is not named tasks, which makes it a little bit hard for us to use. So we're going to use this. So use create database tasks model, but I'm going to rename this as just tasks. Okay, so now I can use that. Tasks. Now we have a bunch of find methods that are available to us, but they don't really show up until I actually start using them, which is a little bit unfortunate. So we're going to do find by ID. Now if I do a semicolon here, you are a function named find by ID. Ooh, let's actually head over to our documentation really quickly and just double check here. So I'm at the CQL org website. In their docs, they have this basic CRUD section, and then you can do a select. So we actually want to see, okay, find by primary ID. Well, that's exactly what we're looking for. So we have use, okay, the entity. Oh, it's entity, not model as. Okay, so we want entity as tasks. Okay, so now I should be able to do tasks find by ID there. I want the ID in here. Okay, so this is going to be the task ID. Now, if I want to filter further by this, I could, but we know that find by ID is just going to give us the first one. So that's what I'm going to do. .1 to give me one thing. I want to give it the connection to the database. That's going to give me, okay, a future. So I await that. That's going to give me a result. Let's just unwrap this for right now. Which then gives me an option model, because what if it couldn't find it? What if we don't actually have a task coming out of here because that ID doesn't exist? Okay, so what do we want to return fully then? We want to return an option with a JSON. So let's do this. We're going to return a JSON. Now, what do I want to do? If I probably want to like return this as an error message if I can't find one. And we can actually do that instead of returning JSON here. What if we do a impl, let's see, I think it's a response into response. Now we can use those tuple types that we were using before to respond with a custom error message. So let's do this. We'll do if let sum task equals task. Okay, so here we have the task. At this point, we couldn't find the task at all, which means that the URL is invalid. If the URL is invalid and that doesn't really exist, that's a 404 error. So we are going to return a tuple type. We're going to use a status code of not found. And we could optionally put some kind of like error in here. Let's do a string of we couldn't find the task. And I'll just go ahead and 2 owns that. Okay, so it wants status code. Oh, it wants like that exact thing. I was really hoping that the into response would do that, but let's do let me see how I want to do this. If that's some task, I probably want to do an early return, and then we'll return this separately. Let's change this around a little bit. So there, we're going to return this tuple type. Now, we have to return out early if we hit the if we hit this sum. Okay. Oh, and a tuple, just in case you're not familiar with it. Tuple is a special data type in Rust. It's sort of kind of like an array. It allows us to have two different things of completely different types in them, but it's not really an array. So that's what we're working with here. Okay. If let sum, we have access to our task. We can actually get stuff out of here, and we should be able to create our response task. So, and if I want to return with actual just JSON, let's just return. I think it's going to be JSON. I want you to be the response task. Fill the check fields. Okay, so this is an RID. Okay, so that's going to be task.id. Title. Task.title. Task.priority. And finally, task.description. Those are all proper options coming up because we don't know if we have them or not. So we're returning you. That's the end of you. So it's mismatch types. It doesn't like this. What we can do is we can, instead of just doing this impl into response, let's return a result. A result is going to be, if it's okay, it's going to be the JSON with the response task. And if it's a complete failure, we'll just return a status code. So in this case, we can go back to our, do another else again. You're going to be an error with a status code not found. Whereas you, we need to return, so I can get rid of the return keyword. We're going to do an OK. And I can remove this semicolon. That makes this happier. Okay, so quick review what I just did. I switched our return case here to a result. The OK part of the result is this JSON of the response task. And if we fail, we're just going to give a custom status code. And here the status code is going to be not found, which is a 404. And if we're okay, we've set our JSON to be this response task and extracted out just the data that we want from the model that we got. Let's head back into our Thunder client response. If we now hit send, here we go. We have ID 6, do something cool, priority A, this task created by Thunder client. And I can change this to 5, which was that static here. So my new title A, my new task description. And if I try something like 999, we get a 404 not found because that task doesn't exist. So this is how we can get a single task from the database and return it to our client. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye. Ukmaki. Hello. Yes, it is a Axum course. I'm doing recordings for this. I tried to answer the tuple thing during it, but I'm also not really like fully responding to chat. So hello about that. Sorry about not saying hi earlier. So it's an array with different types. It's I only say like a kind of like an array because if you're coming from something like JavaScript or Python where you can just sort of do whatever you want with arrays or lists, yes, but we also have arrays and we have vectors and multiple things that allow us to sort of have multiple stuff over it. The order of tuples is absolutely set. So the first one is always going to be the first one. How much for the course? Can you pre-order? No, you can't pre-order. But what you can do, I should probably actually set this as a command. Let me find it. I've been uploading these videos to YouTube. Eventually, I'm going to be creating a an LMS with like where I can just put these courses and then sell them. But for now, we're just making them and giving them away for free. And so here is a playlist to them. Do you need Rust knowledge to take this course? It it helps because I'm not going too deep into Rust. Like for example, I'm not having a lesson on installing Rust, um, or like getting that up and running. I think I get a lot closer to that in the front end course where you can create a the sort of like create a to-do app front end using u.rs, and u.rs is a front end framework. Think React or Vue or Angular. It's not something like that, but you write Rust code. That one I think is a little bit easier to do without Rust knowledge because I actually put a little bit more stuff in there. You know about types, arrays, triples. I think I kind of sort of explained through them when the first time we see them because we're using frameworks. It's a lot of stuff is more of like just learning the framework, and so it gets a little bit muddy about like, well, do you really need to know that much about React? Oh, sorry, Rust to do the initial thing and just follow along. Um, it goes a little bit back and forth. What I would be interested in, if you did want to go through it, we also have a Discord channel. Share that up there. If you go through it, you run into problems because you just have no clue, because the language is just so foreign. Let me know, and I will probably start working on maybe. I do want to create an introduction to Rust course. Uh, Specifically, well, I probably want two. One for other developers, and then one for like new developers. Oh, you come from Java. Okay. So I think things probably won't be quite as hard for you as maybe like some other languages. Things make sense. Things also are very very different. Java 1.4 is that I always get confused by the Java versions, because that's what we would all call 14, right? Yeah, that's like modern Java, right? 2001. Oh wait, 2001. Oh, that's old Java. Okay, we're talking like they didn't have like functions back then. It was that was like hardcore. This is object oriented programming, and you don't have anything else that you can do with Java. Okay. Um, I'm starting to remember now a little bit. I Yeah, okay. So I can try a crash course in Rust, but I think I don't really have a good video for that right now. And I'm running out of time today, and I don't have time to do like a crash course right now, but I potentially could do one in a future stream, where we can just sort of like talk about things, and like show off differences. That being said, I've never used Java that old, so I wouldn't necessarily know what's the connector here. Banzi, hello. Where can you find the edited courses? You can find that here. That URL is where I have the edited, sort of just the videos, each of them as they're going in. They're usually a little bit delayed because I have to actually render them and put little titles on them. I am not on Udemy. No. I'm going to be skipping all the Udemy stuff. I'm going to be building my own sort of LMS in U and Rust, of course, and selling that there. You know, I've heard too many bad things about Udemy from a seller's perspective. And so I'm a little bit gun shy after like having a bunch of people tell me, yeah, just skip Udemy. Just go with your own thing. Also, I have some plans for my own LMS. Basically, I want to be able to put in some check for understanding and some other stuff. Yeah, people do Udemy for publicity, but like at the same time, I'm trying to do like the streaming and YouTube for publicity. So I feel that I'm going down a slightly different path than I think most people on Udemy go down. But okay. All right. What I recommend, Ukmakia. I'm pronouncing your name like different every time, so sorry about that. If you play around, like just review some of the those tutorials. There's another one that I have on u.rs. Um, make your own LMS and Rust. Well, yeah, possibly. I'm probably gonna do it as a live stream and not like a course, more of like a just hey, watch me build it. So play around with those. If when you run into anything that just like doesn't make any sense whatsoever, compile a list of those, and then we can maybe I can do like an office hours type thing on one of the streams in next week, and I'll just go through and just like answer a bunch of them. And if you can't make the streams, if you drop those into the Discord channel, I'll just compile a list of them, and we'll just like go through them, and we'll get you up and running with Rust as fast as we can. Like Homemade Hero. Yeah, sort of like that. I'll probably like Homemade Hero does it from like scratch, and I'm using frameworks. So, um, if if we're comparing against Homemade Hero, I'm cheating, but that's fine. I like to cheat. Okay. I don't think I have anything else, and I've run out of time. Oh no, Porter. What was the URL? It was execute program. I don't think I've looked at that one before. What is that? Let me load that up over here. Oh, it's a learning platform. Yeah. So it'd be something like along these lines. I've actually found a designer. Um, and yeah, sorry about that, B Porter. We've had some bad links come in, like really bad links in the past, and so I've got really gun shy about that, and I have Nightbot be very strict with our links for us. So sorry about that. Um, but I can still see them at the least. So yeah, I'm going to host that online, and I will be charging for those ones. But at the same time, I'm going to do a lot of the building of the courses on stream too. So like there'll be a way to sort of like get content for free if you can't afford them. We'll figure something out. I'll probably also like give quite a few away as well as marketing things, right? We'll figure that out all. We'll all figure that out. Okay, so to do online course host, it's gonna be self-hosted. Or rather, I'm gonna put it on AWS. Is where I'm gonna put it on. So I don't think I have anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and log off. I have my day job that I have to get to. So and because it's Friday, no streams tomorrow or Sunday. I'll be back on Monday morning. Where and I always start these streams at 7 a.m. Mountain Time, and I go for about an hour 15 minutes or so. Thank you, Banzi. I hope that you all have a good day at whatever you're doing, even if it's the end of the day, beginning of the day, or the middle. Have a good one, and I shall see you next time. Bye. Oh yeah, and it is Veterans Day. Have a good Veterans Day. I don't get it off, so I still get to run. Oh, thank you for that, Ukmika. I'll take a look at the I'll take a look at that. All right. Bye for real.